So just a few days ago, the 2021 NBA free agency just started, and not a lot of stars are in this free agency class. The big move was probably Kyle Lowry going to the Miami Heat and DeMar DeRozan going to the Chicago Bulls, but there are a lot of role players and starter level players who switched teams, which is pretty interesting to see. And in my opinion, the second or third most interesting signing that happened was Lonzo Ball signing with the Chicago Bulls. This move was actually a sign and trade, and the sign and trade was Thomas Satoransky, Garrett Temple, and a second round pick to the New Orleans Pelicans, and Lonzo Ball to Chicago, where the Bulls signed him to a 4-year, $85 million deal. And honestly, I think this is an absolutely great move for the Chicago Bulls. And in today's video, I'll be giving some reasons to why the Bulls getting Lonzo is a great move. But before we get into the video, I ask you to drop a like on this video, as it does help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want more NBA content like this, and if you want to help me reach my goal of 1,500 subscribers. Also drop a comment on this video, start a conversation with me, as I do respond to all of my comments. And play that intro. First reason Lonzo Ball to the Chicago Bulls is a smart move is due to the fact that the Bulls' biggest weakness, probably like position-wise, was probably their point guard position before signing Ball, because they were playing guys like Thomas Satoransky and Coby White at the point guard position. And Satoransky isn't the worst point guard in the world, but he's at best like a decent backup point guard. And although Coby White is a young player who's shown promise, I don't think he's good enough to be a starting point guard on a winning team, due to the fact that he's not a great playmaker at all. That's probably one of his weaknesses. He often turns the ball over, and he's more of a guy who shoots the ball a lot and looks to score rather than an actual point guard. But getting Lonzo now, I truly believe he will transform this team, because now they have a guy who's an above average NBA point guard, and he's probably not a top 10 point guard, but that's only due to the fact that the point guard position is the most deep and talented position. If I was to name the top 15 point guards, you could very well argue the 15th best point guard in the NBA probably could be an all-star level player. That's just how stacked the position is. But I definitely think Lonzo will help with his ability to space the floor very well, and with his ability to drive to the rim and find open shooters, and with his ability to play defense at a really good level. Last season, the Bulls were not that great on the defensive side of the floor, and Lonzo will definitely help. You have to remember their best player in Zach LaVine is a defensive liability, and their second best player, Nikola Vucevic, isn't a great defender either. And before, LaVine was forced to guard the opposing team's best scorer, but now he can just leave the duties to Lonzo, and I think he'll do a great job. If the Bulls needed something this offseason, they definitely needed improvement at the point guard position, and especially a point guard who could defend, and they got just that in Lonzo. The second reason I believe the Chicago Bulls signing Lonzo Ball is a great move is due to the fact that I might be one of the few people who still thinks that Lonzo has the potential to be an all-star level player. And I know that might be a far-fetched take, but Lonzo truly, at least in my opinion, has the capabilities to be an all-star, or at least a player who everyone knows has the arsenal of a player who could be an all-star level player, but just doesn't make it simply due to how talented the league is. But the reason I think Lonzo can be an all-star is because last season he literally averaged 14 points, 5 rebounds, and nearly 6 assists while shooting 40% from the three-point line, nearly 40% from the free-throw line. And you might be thinking, those are some solid numbers, but they're definitely not close to being an all-star level player. And you're right, but you have to realize that Lonzo is being misused in New Orleans, as their head coach in Stan Van Gundy for some reason had Lonzo playing a lot off the ball, and he had Lonzo playing more of a 3-and-D like point guard type of role, who just catch and shoots threes and plays defense. And it wasn't like he was playing off ball to like an all-star, a superstar. He was playing to a player who was actually worse than him in Eric Bledsoe. He's a guy who can't shoot, can't play make as good as Lonzo. And although I think he's a bit overhated, because I still think he's like an average NBA player, he definitely shouldn't have been getting the ball more than Lonzo. He's literally a slightly worse version of Lonzo, but not significantly worse. But nonetheless, on Chicago, I think Lonzo will for sure be being used correctly. I think he could have a possible breakout season. I'm not going to say he's going to go out averaging 25-point triple-double or anything like that, but I definitely could see him averaging around 16 to 18 points and shooting like 36-37% from 3, along with averaging like 6 rebounds and 8 or 9 assists, and playing all NBA level defense. I definitely think that's an all-star level caliber player, and I truly believe Lonzo is capable of reaching those numbers because I feel like on this Bulls team, Lonzo will get more confidence. He can possibly be a way more aggressive player. I think Lonzo's biggest weakness is his aggressiveness, and if he could fix that up, I truly believe he could be an all-star level player. But even if Lonzo doesn't improve that much and he's just around the same player he was last season, he's obviously going to be a little bit disappointing, but I definitely think that's still a huge addition to this team, and it will make them way better and help them make the postseason for the first time in a minute. The third reason I believe the Chicago Bulls signing Lonzo Ball is a good move is the fact that signing a guy of Lonzo Ball's talent definitely will help Zach LaVine want to resign, because Lonzo is the guy who's going to help them win some games, and there has been a bit of rumors that might be saying he might want to Zach wanted to get out of Chicago because they weren't winning right now and he's in the prime of his career. But if Lonzo could help them get the 7th or 8th seed, I definitely think that would be enough to convince Zach to stay. Also, signing Lonzo just shows that this team is truly invested in improving and building around Zach. It really showed it in the Nikola Vucevic trade, but this Lonzo signing trade definitely shows it even more. I really like this move for Chicago because it just shows that they're trying to win and stop that whole rebuilding thing, and I definitely think Zach appreciates that. I think it drastically increases the chance that he signs the extension. The fourth reason the Chicago Bulls signing Lonzo Ball is a good move is due to the fact that I don't think they overpaid him crazily, because they signed him to a 4-year, $85 million deal, which is around $21 to $22 million a year. And I know you guys might be thinking that's a lot of money for a guy who's just an above average starting point guard, and I'd actually agree. When you look at today's NBA, if you're just an above average starter, you're going to get paid nearly $20 million, and I feel like the Chicago Bulls are in a position to where they didn't have much options, so they either had to overpay Lonzo by $5 million a year, or they just had to not get him at all. And obviously when you're in the Bulls position where you don't have that much talent, you have to overpay, and the Bulls at this moment are not a marquee place for free agents, so they probably weren't going to sign some stars or anything close to that. Well, they did sign DeMar DeRozan, but you know what I mean. They were still able to sign DeRozan without besides Lonzo's big contract. I really don't think this contract's going to come back to bite them or anything like that. It's not the most perfect contract, they overpaid for him a little bit, but I definitely could have seen a world where Lonzo gets paid $25 million a year, because that's how crazy free agency is nowadays. I think it's a respectable contract, not a great one, or it's not a steal or anything like that. It's definitely not a bad one, and it's somewhere around what I was expecting Lonzo to get. So I definitely think it's a W for them not overpaying him crazily, because there definitely was a chance that they could have. But to conclude the video, this was obviously a really smart move for the Bulls. I don't think anyone's disagreeing with that. Depending on how the rest of this year's free agency goes, this honestly might make them a team that could potentially make the playoffs, obviously in the Eastern Conference. This move alone makes them one of the winners of the offseason, along with them signing DeRozan. I think Lonzo is the guy who's going to fit perfectly well on this team. And I think this is a move that will really help the Bulls, and I think it will really help Lonzo's career, and I think it will help him be better in his career and stuff. The only fear is that his shooting falls down to being bad and stuff. If that happens, then this is a really bad signing, but I don't think that will happen, and I'm hoping Lonzo does good. Anyways, guys, that's it for the video. Let me know whether or not you think this was a good signing. Drop a like on this video if you want more NBA content like this, and if you want to reach my goal of 1,500 subscribers, drop a comment in this video, start a conversation, because I do respond to all of the comments, and I'm out.